from, you can see the pattern that we're creating over our Mother Earth. And I'll start with mine. Ireland, welcome. Kia ora. Kia ora. Copenhagen. Welcome, Copenhagen. I'm feeling like I'm in the Eurovision song. Portland, Argentina. Georgian Bluffs. Wow, it's too fast. California, born in UK, Canada, Ireland, England, Germany, Australia, France. Welcome. Kia ora. Vancouver. Kia ora. Ontario, Mexico. Welcome. San Sligo, Ireland, Devon, Sweden, UK, Argentina, London, Netherlands. Shalom, salam from Yael in Alaska, Madeleine, Israel. Born in UK, Canada, Ireland, England, Germany, Australia, France. Welcome. Kentucky and now Florida, Canada. I'm hearing myself double. I hope you're hearing me single. No? If you're hearing me if you're hearing me double, you want to take it over, Yael?
I'm also hearing double.
So maybe Yael, you want to continue?
Okay, yes, I will continue. Thank you everyone for coming and helping us co-create this. Today is a special circle because one of our pillars, Iya, isn't able to make it today. And to explain and tell our community a bit about it, we are honored to be
say
joining.
Hello to Cleveland, Ohio, Ontario, Canada. I also am hearing a lot of echoes. So can everyone? Oh.
So anyone who's not supposed to speak now, if you can mute yourselves, because there seems to be some echoes. And yeah, we are honored to be joined by Jaminnia, Iya's granddaughter, who will give us an update. Jaminnia, over to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you again for having me. Thank you for inviting me to this circle, and thank you for holding space for my grandmother, who is typically here, and allowing her to shine in this space. I have some unfortunate news. She had a stroke shortly before Thanksgiving. She was found in her home on the day before, and some members of our family were able to get to her and meet her at the hospital. Friends on the island rushed her to the hospital. And it was a long ordeal, but the short version is we were able to get her out of St. Croix into a hospital in Miami to begin the road to recovery. The facilities on St. Croix didn't have everything that she would need to have for the long journey to a stroke recovery. So if you are familiar with that, you know that it could possibly take as little as 6 months, as long as a year or more to get back to some form of your former self. My grandmother is very independent, as you may already know. And so this puts her in a position of being dependent on kindness and community and family. And so I'm sure it's very humbling, and I'm also sure that it's very, very difficult. We've been fortunate to have some financial support for the first leg of her recovery in St. Croix, just being there. I was there 2 weeks myself, but and that was after a week of her being there before we were able to get her to Miami. And so it's a long journey, and we're asking for support of all kinds. So there are some fundraisers if you want to lend financial support. There's also a Google folder where you can drop messages, kind words, art, video, whatever moves you to share with her to keep her spirits up. And then she's also, very much into alternative medicine. And so that is another cost outside of insurance. And so she's already talked about some of it, which is so funny. But massages and saunas and Reiki and spiritual work, all of herbs, supplements, vitamins. I'm sure many of you know the deal. And so we're also raising money in an effort to support that and her being at home with family, which is the hope that we can get her home to Indianapolis with family. And so that's where some of the financial donations will go to. But if you have a service provider of those things and want to give her that or send her that, we can coordinate that as well. And of course, just prayer. Prayer is the simplest thing, and it's also the most powerful thing that you can offer her at this time. It's been a very rocky beginning. She's unable to swallow, and so she's hooked up to a feeding tube. And that makes recovery difficult, not able to get the nutrition that you need or want for not just nourishment of the body, but of the spirit as well. So just holding her in prayer, especially for this rocky beginning, would be really, really meaningful to our family, as well as those who are holding her. So yeah, I think I've said everything. There's a Caring Bridge link that I think will also be shared. If you want updates or a space to send her messages and you don't want to mess with Google, Caring Bridge will let you send messages and also receive updates about her progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaminnia, for everything that you are doing and holding with the rest of your beautiful family that I had the privilege to meet some of you and really to feel how Iya is bringing together people even when she's, there doing her thing with her body. She's still bringing so many different parts of, like, I've met so many people who love and care about Iya and are connected, that some of them I heard about from stories from her, and some of them I didn't know about, and suddenly we're all in this shared love. So this is really a time for us as a community. Alma, if you can drop in the chat the link to the donation. And this is where these circles are not just, an online thing that doesn't do anything, but we can actually practically take it. And as Jaminnia said, prayers and our wisdom keepers, when they heard about it, actually before this happened, Iya kind of felt that something was going on, and she summoned our core circle of wisdom keepers to have a circle with her and for her, and it was very powerful. And so after we learned about that, we kept meeting with her, for her, but with her not being present with us online. And that too, how she brings us together, and she is able to strengthen our bonds with each other and with spirit and with her. It's just, I'm grateful beyond words. And yeah, I've lit a candle for Iya. And with that, we will now go into the circle that we know she loves and is a part of. So we will do what we do here in the circle, where we listen very deeply, even as the word come out of my mouth or my other self's mouth, be it you or another other self. We are asking to hold very deep listening. And the way we do it is with the guidelines from traditional talking circles. As our elders in Alaska, our late elder Rita Blumenstein, from the Indigenous Council of 13 Grandmothers, when she worked with other indigenous traditions, she found that these kind of what she called talking circles or sharing circles exist in many traditions, and they have different names and different forms, but the same guidelines that she gathered and handed down to us. And when women do it, we feel it creates like an energetic womb where it is a safe, brave space for something new to start existing in us and possibly outside of us. So this is what we try and do here, and that is why I have called these amazing wisdom keeper women that are knowing that are the living manifestation of that. And when they do it together in a sisterhood, this is what is formed, and we know that we couldn't do that on our own. That is one of the teachings of the womb. Nothing happens in the womb on its own. It's always a drop of an other self. And so we are asking all of you to help us with that. And so the first hour will be the wisdom keepers creating that circle amongst themselves, and that would be live streamed on YouTube, as you can see. And then we will close the recording and live streaming and go to breakout rooms where each of the wisdom keepers that are able to stay, because some have to leave early today, each of the wisdom keepers that we have will hold a talking circle with a handful of you. And that's where you are asked to share your wisdom. And so the way we listen from the heart and the way we share from the heart is through these guidelines that I'm going to read, because the first guideline is that we set the guidelines even if everybody knows them, just like when we are invited to a meal, even if everyone knows where the plates are, the host still sets the table. And so these are the guidelines. So this is a talking circle in the sense that the circle does the talking. We are doing the listening. Listen from the heart, not from the mind, not from the ego, not from the marketing or wanting to explain or teach something, but really what comes to be said when the circle wants to talk through you is when you talk. And if the circle doesn't want to talk through you, if you feel that the words are not what you're supposed to give today, then your presence and your listening and your silence is also good, because in these circles, even if you do not speak, you will be heard. And often you will see that someone, maybe you think of something and then someone says it maybe in a different way, and you don't need to repeat because it's already said, and the circle does the talking. And if we just let go of the need to be heard, then we can hear a lot more. We ask to listen with the innocence of a child, hearing something from the first time. Think about the first time you heard of a pyramid or a platypus or a unicorn, before you knew if it existed or not, when you just heard the story and let yourself be in the story. This is a potluck of offerings. You don't need to push away something that doesn't nourish you, for it might nourish someone else. So just come with your plate and palate. Take what is right for you. Maybe it's just a sentence, and maybe it's something from different offerings, and just go with that. We ask to respect yourself, your other selves in the circle and beyond, to respect time and attention that are limited. If you are not sure how to do it, just when you tell a story, don't say the name of the person who was with you, for their truth might be very different. Like when the deer and the lion are in the chase, they have very different experiences, yet both are just as true. We ask to be free of agendas and planning, and just let the moment that is changing lead us. And when you feel it is your time to share, and the words that are coming, trust it, or the words that are not coming, again. Speak from the heart, so we don't interfere other people's sacred path or words, even if they are not right for us. Again, we don't need to say that they are not right. Just lay your story next to their story. Just like the womb can have nausea and hunger at the same time, just like it can have two hearts or more in the same body, it allows for that. if we accept the discomfort for a minute, we can expand to contain other truths and let something new begin to exist. As you share your truth, we ask to speak only of what you know to be true through your own lived experience, not something that you heard or a movie that you saw, but something, if it's a movie that you saw and moved you, talk about your experience. Don't talk about or for other people. And in the breakout rooms, we ask for confidentiality. What is shared in the circle belongs to the circle. Even if you see that person, you want to continue the conversation, ask for permission. For some things belong to the here and now and cannot exist in other places or other. Ask for permission. And when you ask, the answer can be no. Respect that. All these are our requests. And we will give a few seconds in case anyone has change. See Kevin, I think your hand, if you. No, okay, it was just, okay, just a hand. So with that, we will go into the circle, dive in, and I will ask Catherine to take us in with a blessing. Catherine, please.
Kia ora, Yao. Kia ora, greetings, everybody. Today, I'll recite invocation for well-being that talks about energy. And I'll recite it in our Māori language, and then I'll give a translation so that we all understand. Ko hiringa nuku, ko hiringa rangi, ko hiringa te kōrero, ko hiringa te wānanga, ko hiringa tau, ko hiringa taketake ki te whaiao ki te ao maramai e. And that's translated approximately as the physical, earthly energies, the metaphysical, celestial energies, the energy of speech, of communication, the energy of deliberation and learning, the energy that brings a sense of peace, the energy of the dawning of the world to the world of light. Kia ora.
Thank you, Catherine. And as the elders here in Alaska say, when women come together in true sisterhood, connect to the womb in us, in them, and around them, us, then new things can begin to emerge. And so the first thing is to connect to the womb. And Diana, if you can take us into the womb with your meditation.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Jemima. Thank you for all that is here, far and near. I'm on the road, so I want to say before I begin the meditation that I might cut in and out, so I'm apologizing for that. And because I'm on the road, I don't have a candle with me, so I invite us to close our eyes and to kindle the light within. Where is the flame inside of you? Can you see it shining bright within yourself? In your heart, in your womb, on the third eye? Where is your kindled light? Where is the flame that feeds you light from within? I'm inviting you to put on your heart and palm on your womb,
maybe you can
and breathe.
undo the video.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Better. So inviting us to put place a palm on our hand, on our heart, and one on our womb, and to breathe. We're sitting here on different parts of Mother Earth on the day of solstice, which we all share in opposition. For some of us, the days are getting shorter from here on. For some of us, the days are getting longer from here on. But opposition is born on this day. Our womb is pregnant with possibilities. Whether we have an external or internal womb, or whether it was externally removed by a surgery, or whether we were born without one, we still have an etheric womb, or we came from one. Every person on this planet came from a womb. Every person on this planet was once a spark of difference in our mother's womb. Take yourself for a moment to the womb of your mother, where you were the spark of difference that came from the spirit world. Everything that was familiar to your mama, you brought newness into that fertile ground. You brought life in your womb this time around. The life you carried in your womb was a spark of difference in what was familiar to you. On this day of solstice, in your etheric or physical womb, what wants to be born? What is the different spark that's unfamiliar and new, different from anything you knew, that is begging, yearning, initiating to spring out of you, be it in life form, in idea, in poetry, in movement, in insight, in inspiration? What are you birthing in yourself today that is completely unfamiliar? How do you feel about something that's unfamiliar? An insight, dream, or a vision might be scary about how to be living in your reality once it's born. Can you extend and expand the wombs of your etheric womb, the walls of your physical womb, to include that which you are unfamiliar with, that which is unknown? And take a moment to be with this unknown. Making room for what's new and different, a spark that is coming from the divine. Breathe life into this spark. Breathe life and light into this spark. And see what in you soften in order to continue. And let's take a few breaths in together, because every new breath is unfamiliar. You just exhale. The next breath, the next inhale is a new one. It's unfamiliar. It will never repeat again. Let's breathe that one together. And exhale the familiar to make room for yet another unfamiliar inhale. Another one-of-a-kind moment that you open yourself up into. And once you breathe it in, it becomes familiar, merges with you. Release the familiar in one final breath of unfamiliarity, of freshness, of now. And let your palms feel the heartbeat of your heart in your womb. And begin to return in your consciousness to this moment, to the familiar surrounding, with an unfamiliar new breath with every inhale. And as your eyes are closed and you imagine the surrounding where you sit, see if you can allow yourself in a moment when we will open our eyes to be opening them as if you see your environment for the first time. It's familiar, yet opening of the eyes would be new. You inhale, gently open your eyes to the unfamiliar new moment right now.
Thank you, Diana. Toda rabba. And with that new freshness, let's go to the unexpected unknown that is going to come out of Eva's mouth for us. Please, Eva, take us in.
Thank you, Yael. Thank you, Diana, for this beautiful meditation. It's interesting because today we often consider the dark to be something that we don't want to go to. We want to always entering a dark room and open the light, put the light on. And for me, it's just like the yin and yang that is the theme of today. It's like a movement between dark and light is the movement between the yin and the yang. And in my own journey, as some of you know, I lost my eyesight for 2 years. And during this time, the light hurt my eyes. I couldn't stand the light. So I was constantly seeking dark room. I would be in dark rooms, or I would have very dark glasses on my eyes so that the light doesn't touch my eyes. And I remember the first time that I danced. I wrote it in my book, Dancing in the Dark, because dancing in the dark is really the metaphor of the amount of light that we have around us and that we're not even aware of. Because we're so afraid, we're living with fear and shame. And today is really an invitation to step out of this fear and shame and guilt. We're living very, very challenging time and very, very powerful, potent time for transformation. The darkness is the womb. It's where we have been gestating for the past year or 2 or 3 or more. What we perceive as the dark or dark time or chaos is actually where creation comes, is where creation happens. And I remember when after my first surgery, and a friend of mine put some music and invited me to dance because she knew that dance would bring me back to life because I was very depressed. And she put the music and I was dancing, but I was constantly trying to touch the air around me and saying, is there enough space? I'm so afraid to fall. And she's like, yeah, you have space, just like dance. You have so much space. And I couldn't take that space. I was so afraid to take that space. And when I regained my eyesight 2 years later, I went to visit that place. And the amount of space I had around me was incredible. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a metaphor for life. We are so much held, but we're so afraid, or I was very afraid to trust that voice of my friend saying, you have enough space, dance. It's like you have enough space, live. And so today in this movement between the yin and the yang, between the dark and the light, I invite you to drop the fear, to drop the shame, to drop the guilt. We've been riding on the wave of what's going on in Palestine and in other places around the world with a lot of shame, with a lot of fear, with a lot of anger and frustration and helplessness and powerlessness. And what can me alone, what can I do? But actually, we can do so much when we are moving from our heart and we are moving with trust in ourselves and in the other, rather than moving from fear and shame and guilt and blame, because basically what we will be enacting is the drama triangle, which is the victim, perpetrator, and savior. It's time to drop that drama triangle. It's time to complete. We are in a year of completion. 2025 is a 9. It's a year of completion, and we're stepping into a year 1 2026 is 10 is 1. And it's the beginning of so much power for the individual and sovereignty, where we come together as a community, but the community is come unity. And the come unity is within. That's what peace activation is all about, is activating that peace inside of me so that I can stand in my power and sovereignty and step into this unknown, coming out of the womb that is holding us, that where Diana has just held us in the meditation. That womb is the infinite potential for each and every one of us, not just for some of us, not just for the elected or the chosen or I don't know what. It's for all of us. All of us human being can drop the doing and become the being that we are, and we are being of light. And I will end with a vision that I had when I lost the first month where I was in the dark. Again, I was very, very depressed, and I was kept just meditating and asking for help and asking really spirit, like, why me? Why now? And for the past 2 years, I understood why now, why me, because I needed to be given a vision that will hold me through this time that we're going through. And that vision was how the sun powerfully giving to us with unconditional love, and all of us human beings coming down from the sun as particle of light and landing on earth. And that's really a vision I invite you to hold in your heart and in your womb. We are particle of light. We're not here to seek the light. We're here to seek the darkness and to make from that darkness our honey and the beauty with which we can come, and really from a place of love, from a place of acceptance, from a place of compassion for ourselves first, because we cannot give anything that we don't give to ourselves, for ourselves and then to the other. And then let's see what type of world we will be living in. Can tell you it will be a completely different type of world, because it would be a world where the sun is received with the unconditional love that it's giving us, and understanding that we all have this power to shine and give and hold ourselves and the other in this light. But it has to go through grief, it has to go through darkness, it has to go through loss. This is the journey on planet Earth. And our life happened once we are out of the womb. It's happened between an inhale that we take as soon as we come out and an exhale when we move to the other form of living that isn't human. So with this, I'll close. I thank you so much. Thank you, Yael, and happy solstice, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. How beautiful. In 2021, I too had a partial loss of my vision. I saw black circles. First it was my right eye, and then I had another smaller one, my left eye, and then it came back. I think 2 years ago, something like that. And I was like, what is happening? Why am I seeing circles? And the answers that I got was, you will see circles until you will see circles. And it was basically talking to me about these kinds of circles. So that's the vision I got. I was like, okay, it's not like a nice to have circle I kind of want to do. It's like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I won't.
This is the initiation. This is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
So thank you so much for this start. And Vav, I know you were in ceremony from this. So let's see.
Thank you, and thank you all my sisters who have spoken so far, and happy solstice, everyone. So our subject tonight is the yin and the yang, and a lot of what Eva has just spoken really echoes in my heart. And I'm a Scot living in England, and England used to be many, many moons ago a tribal country where people lived in small tribes and respected the land. And we were invaded by the Romans, and a lot of our indigenous culture in England was lost. Over time, after many invasions, England invaded Scotland, and the English way sent a lot of the Scots to Canada and America. And England has become a colonizer of so many places that, you know, a lot of the shame of the past and what England has built on is beginning to come to light. And, you know, it's a sad way to live. And here at this time of year, with Christmas coming, I live my Indigenous way of life quietly on my own land, and I watch the horrors in the supermarket where people have trolleyfuls of food that they will never eat. And they're in the shops buying plastic and presents and stuff that people will never use. And on our televisions in this country, we see so many visions of starvation across the world and hunger and children dying in war zones and wars in Ukraine and wars in Gaza. And it makes me ask what the hell we've ever learned as human beings. And it makes me ashamed to be a human being an awful lot of the time, especially when you compare with the animals who have no boundaries. And the birds fly from Africa to this country and they don't get into battle. And the whales swim from one end of the world to the other. And I really plead that a time will come in this new place after we go through this labor and the Mother Earth goes through this labor and we birth this new time of being where we see that actually the earth will provide everything that we can ever need if we look after her. And if we start to care for Mother Earth and care for one another, then yes, we could have that beautiful idyllic life that we all long for. And so I appeal to everybody who's listening to this to shine their light from inside. We need to hold our sovereignty, but shine the light that we hold to send love to everybody we come across and help them to heal this human disease of greed and selfishness and start to think in a much more healing manner, a healing way of love and light, and birth this new time together. I also see on this call a very respected elder from this country, Annie Spencer. And if my sisters in Yale will allow, I'd like to invite Annie just to say a couple of words and to introduce herself. If you can hear me, Annie.
Okay.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, please. And if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. I feel
Hi,
so
hi, Annie.
I've not been here before. I'm probably wonderful because I'm very old. And I'm older than most people I meet, so they're always terribly impressed. And then I say, you know, I did this at such and such a time, but I suppose you weren't born. Or I did this in such and such a time, but now that's history. So I live in Bath, which has the most sacred hot spring in the whole of this island. But its power is rather hidden under a great layer of shopping. And I've spent my life loving the holy, loving the land. I learned that from my grandparents, who were farmers, and my grandmother would say when she was old, I expect you'd think I'm mad, but all I like to do is to go out on the land and sit on a rock quietly. And I totally always understood her. I have learnt from many people around the world, and for that I am so grateful. And every time I begin, I feel I should apologize. I should apologize for my people, my ancestors, and all that they have done and all that they're still doing, some of them around the world, to hurt and their arrogance and their ignorance and everything that they have done to probably some of the ancestors of some of you here. I don't know because I haven't met any of you. That was always the first thing I feel I need to say. Do you think I've said enough now?
Annie, you and I worked together many, many, many moons ago. I can't remember where it was, but it was a long time ago. And I respect your teaching and I respect your position. So blessings.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm here to learn. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I think we're all here to learn, like our elder reminded us. I think we're learning together and reminding each other of all kinds of things. Like when I listen to what you said, Vav, I'm thinking about how we often forget to, we're so busy caring for the children that we forget to care for the parents, for our Mother Earth and for our mothers. And in another Wombs of Peace circle that I'm privileged to be a part of, the theme of lullabies came up as how we often sing to our children, but we feel like, I need this lullaby. And then when the children are grown up, sometimes we kind of just hum the lullaby. And, it's sometimes the baby cries and you pick him up and you're like, oh, I needed that hug. And so it's like, who cares for whom? And this reciprocal relationship, and maybe there is not this separation that we are mindfully going into, but maybe it's also a part of the illusion. Or I don't know, maybe it is another form of yin and yang, who's holding whom, And so with that, someone who had more than 2 hearts in her body, at some point she had 3 hearts, Muna, I'm wondering what's coming to you and what's coming through you to give us.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good morning for some of you, I guess. It's pretty late night for me here. And it's always about how to speak something from the moment without making it relative in a way after someone else has spoken. So just looking at my own time that I spent with Spirit this evening on the sunset. So just a sharing for me, it's been for almost 20 years now, every solstice and every equinox that I sat either on the sunrise or sunset with the angels. Basically, I think this is the time where angels are so close, and over the years, many sceneries changing. Like I can remember myself when I was once in a very difficult relationship with my children and the father of my children not able to go outside of the house. I held the ceremony within a room with a small window. Another time when I was in Thailand, just somewhere in the mountain, and a huge butterfly came along. So it's accumulated like this every year, 4 times, sitting every time. And this is a special time for myself. Like I tried to share it for a while with someone else, with my sisters, with a circle of sisters, and then it was like, no, clear. This is a time that I have a date with Spirit and sit with myself and with Spirit and listen. And I think that this is the main thing that I want to bring today, because towards the end of my ceremony this evening, the moon just showed, and it was sunset, and the color is very beautiful, red in the sky, and like this crescent came up, and I felt like the most authentic thing that I could do at that moment was to promise to take care of myself, because in a way the self-care makes it possible for us to care for others, and we, as women, we so often forget that. And I know we all know this, and I know everyone here knows this, but it's just a reminder, because we just don't want to be selfish, like, what do you mean take care of yourself? And then I thought, how can I bring joy if I'm not joyful? And how can I bring healing if I'm not healed? How can I bring love if I'm angry? So this is just like, okay, this being needs caring. It needs nourishing, needs caring, needs vacations from once in a while, actually even just sitting with friends and or walking in nature outdoors. This is really like very nourishing situation. But I'm just here to remind us, you know, you cannot bring joy if you're upset. Just find the joy within yourself and bring it to the world, because it's lacking it. It's lacking it. And joy does not mean, you know, especially here in the situation with the Palestine and Israel, there's like this fear that I'm not allowed to be joyful because then I don't care, or, you know, like we think that being joyful means that we're like ignoring or not caring. But think about bringing joy into the deepest pain. How healing is that? How healing is that to bring this smile into places where there's, you know, endless suffering? So I think this is for me in the, I know for some of us it's the longest day, you know, like for Catherine, for example. For me, this is the short. It varies. We're not always, you know, the solstice is something different. But for me, or where I am at right now, coming from the darkest day to the light, it's about, okay, where do I grow in the light right now? And I want to grow in a place of nourishing this being so that it can serve in a better way. And I give that to each and every one of us. So simple, really simple. Thank you.
Shukran. As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, yeah, what would it be like to be like, no, don't, I won't be joyful, so you can be joyful. You go ahead, be joyful. I'll suffer here. You know what I mean? It's like, we know it's contagious. Like, why are we so much in that scarce consciousness, even when it comes to things that can be abundant? Like, we don't need only to give each other diseases. We can only give each other the eases, not just the diseases, right? And as you're talking about that circular, oh, here we are again with this date with spirit that you have, or with the equinox, or the solstice, or the moon, or your birthday, or, you know, whatever it is. We don't have snow. This is Alaska. It's the winter. And we had one snowfall. And there's just a tiny bit on the ground. And I'm just, you know, I don't know. It makes me so sad and scared. It's like, where is it? It's like, here we are again, but in a way, you know, it feels like something loved and crucial is missing. And even the people here that don't like the snow and don't like the darkness, which I love, this is a big part of why I came here. It's like everyone acts as if it's okay, but it's underneath there's something that's not okay, you know. And so this things that we've taken for granted, yeah, Alaska winter, dark snow, suddenly a part of the yin yang of the white and black is missing. And so what's that like? And again, what can we do? And the answer that I got was like mind your own business, lady. Let let Mother Earth take care of herself. Like, the other stuff take care of themselves. You can't do anything about it, but you can heal yourself, and maybe the healing will then ripple out, and, as Vav said, go into a healing mindset. And so with that, I'm inviting our healer, who's also a doctor, Selene, to give us whatever is coming through you for us.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this circle. It's so nice to have all of you. It's so sweet to have 90 people around the world celebrating the time of the sun. I I have to say that for us, it's a different season than in the North Hemisphere. And for us, this day is Kapag Raimi. Kapag significa big, means big, and Raimi means the party. So the meaning of today is the biggest party of the year. We are celebrating since last night because today is the first day for us, is the first day of the Andean calendar. Today, December 21, marks the beginning of the summer here in the southern hemisphere. And is the first day of the rainy season, which is why communities gather to celebrate and give to the Pachamama, to Mother Earth, our appreciation for arriving into a new rainy season. By this time, the seeds has sprouted from its mother womb, as we are also sprouted from our mother's womb. And today is a new opportunity to do the same again, trying to sprouting. And we are now like tiny, tiny plants, but full of life and full of hope. And I want to transmit this energy at this sunlight, so vibrant, to Iya, my maestra, my chamana, my mother. Iya, I love you. I am so happy to be talking to you just days before your accident. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. You just hold our hands and just keep believing. Yeah, you are enormous. The eyes of our grandparents are today expressing to us. So my ancestors are expressing today the joy they feel for its beauty, the beauty of the tiny plants growing. And also we celebrate the godness inside of us, the divinity inside of us, and its strength. Today is the day the wise amautas are maestros, are like maestro, teachers, or maestros. Because in this moment, the Inti Kapahrai, the influence of the sun is adding to the entire cosmos a renewed energy and a renewed life through the seeds planted in the womb of the earth. And the earth is saying, yes, the seeds was very good, and now they are tiny, tiny plants. And we see tiny plants is like saying children, and also recalling when we were children, like our playful, smiling, and cheerful children. The small plants populate the earth now, and we are spreading all around this part of the planet. I understand in other parts it's not the beginning of the rainy season or the summer. At this time of the year, what we do, Quechuas, Aymaras, Chipivos, Conivos, Ashanicas, the hundreds of indigenous nations we are here, what we do is to keep our ancestors inside each seed that has flourished into a tiny plant, and we celebrate the festival of will, understanding the will as an inner wisdom. Kapak means the marking of a time of strengthening. It is a time to look within ourselves and recognize our inner potential to flourish again and again. And even further, or deeper, Kapak Raimi marks a time of changing. It's a time to look and recognize our inner potential so that we can increase it through a conscious evolutionary process. So we are dancing, we are preparing chicha, which is a drink made of corn, a special corn for this time of the year. I have been celebrating the Kapag Raimi for the last 3 nights, awaiting for this day to come and let the sun to embrace my being and through me, through all of you. And I do recognize it's a time to look within myself and recognize my true potential, to increase my evolutionary potential, like the seeds. So it's a celebration time. It's a big, big party here. Let us celebrate our ability to overcome fear, overcome ignorance, overcome war, overcome poverty, overcome violence. And it's time for remember our roots and honor them. I wish this Kapag Raimi will be the same in the Northern Hemisphere in Southeast Asia or wherever you are. Doesn't matter the time is there. The Kapag Raimi has started right now to make us stronger, to make our conscience more evolutionary, more tending to evolve and to overcome the fear and ignorance. Thank you so, so much.
Tupananchiskama. Happy Kapag Raimi.
Anyay, Kapag Raimi.
Kapag Raimi.
Feliz Kapag Raimi. Happy Kapag Raimi.
Aho and amen. And may we each think of the seeds or be more conscious of the seeds in us and our potential and what do we choose to try and grow in us and around us. And with that, Catherine, bring the light.
Ooh, double whammy. I'm so privileged. I get to do the opening karakia invocation and offer a thought as well. Bonus. When I was thinking of the darkness and the light, right, I opened with a karakia invocation about energy. Excuse me, my throat's still a bit scratchy. Energy. And it's interesting, in our Māori language, we have like the different vowel sounds hold different energies, frequencies. I might have mentioned like the sound of ah. It denotes and represents knowledge and understanding and wisdom, those sorts of themes. The sound of E represents energy kinds of themes. And so our word for darkness is pōuri, pōuri. You can hear the ri at the end. And our word for happiness is hari. You can hear the e at the end. So it doesn't matter what the energy is, when you combine it with other kinds of elements, it produces a different thing, sometimes completely opposite things. Pōuri, hari, sadness, darkness, and light. So they all emanate from the same place. And when I think about the darkness for us, I may have mentioned before, we have these stages of darkness in our creation stories. The stages of darkness, pour. And one of the stages references the streaks of light that are seen through the darkness. So I think we've all, maybe we can think of a time, I certainly can, where I feel emotionally in the dark. Maybe I'm going through my own what do we call it? The dark night of the soul. Some people reference that. And it's that moment when I have some kind of thought that is really like that. It's like light streaking through the dark. And I feel like it's a tipping point for me. I really hold on to that. It's like I can imagine a future, like remember a future even, where I've tipped over and I'm, on the downward side, the easy downward side of this dark night of the soul. And it's all about the light. I pulled a few cards earlier. One is reconnect, and you might, those who are on the call with Iya will recognize this is the card that we pulled for Iya about reconnecting. Here's a face and the little stars in the head, like neurons of the brain, all firing off like light, bing, bing, bing. And the second card I pulled is knowledge. And of course, knowledge is light, isn't it? Knowledge is like those streaks of light in the dark. But it's for us here in the world, it's not just static knowledge. It's not just knowledge for the sake of knowledge. It's active. This pattern here we call potama. It's referencing the journey of one of our atu, our supernatural ancestors, who went up in the celestial realms to achieve baskets of knowledge to bring them down to earth. So knowledge that we need is active knowledge. At the moment, I'm actually going through a bit of a dark night of the soul because I'm feeling there's something I need to do, which is to take more of my ancestral knowledge and to put it out into the world in an active way, not just have it like to know it, but to put it out in the world so others can maybe benefit from it. But that means I have to actually do something. I have to get off my butt and I actually have to create something with it. And then I have to take it out into the world. That's a bit of a scary thing for me, believe it or not, to do that. And then the third card I pulled was protection. And you can see these are animals which reside in dark places, the owl and the bat. And they're able somehow to live in the dark and have these amazing capacities to take from the dark and navigate through it. And so I'm absorbing energy from those kinds of animals who are able to do that. And when I put all these together, I'm thinking it sort of means something like when we reconnect with certain kinds of knowledge in an active way, then we can find protection. And having protection doesn't necessarily mean your troubles go away. But it may mean you're more resilient. It may mean you're able to forgive yourself more if people believe in forgiveness, or maybe you're able to find a better place of balance, not necessarily complete balance, but a bit more balanced. Or it might mean you have people that come into your life, like we have right here, people that come into your life just to give you a bit of support, tap on the shoulder, a bit of love, good energy, spin your way, different kinds of protection. Or it may be that you just feel nature is just, you go out and you feel that it has your back. So, yeah, if we have these three kinds of sort of themes and ideas, I think that's something good to hold on to for today. And I really do hope that Iya and her family are able to identify that knowledge that they need, put it into action, and then, find that protection for everyone in this time, which is a real challenge. And it's reflecting back to all of us. We all have our moments like that. So yeah, I wish Iya and her family the best at this time, and all of us as well. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you, Catherine. I feel one of my big learning from this faith with Iya is, and her family, is how receptive Jaminnia, you and the family have been towards all kinds of things. Like, we don't know each other from before. Other people, you know, all of these wants and wishes to help that sometimes can be overwhelming. Just the way you've been able to receive and also take in what is right for you and not take in what isn't with such grace is so important for all of us to do. And I feel that's a big part of the protection that Catherine was naming. And just to you, Catherine, you know, you feeling now that you need to make your ancestral knowledge accessible is like the thing I felt about you from day one. And I remember trying to tell you that and you weren't receptive to it, I feel. And like more and more, I feel you kind of like, yes, she's beginning to hear it. Because it's like, you are wisdom keepers to me. You all who are now spotlighted, you're wisdom keepers and you're wisdom bearers. And you need to make that knowledge that you have accessible for the benefit of all of us. So this is an ask, a request, whatever, a plea. Do whatever you want with it, but that's what I'm feeling. And with that, with that big ask, over to you, Jaminnia, who's maybe the least used to me asking big things from people in these situations. So welcome. I feel your grandma kind of sent you to us in her way, kind of like, all right, take this one, and for you, like, catch it and do whatever you do. So over to you. What's coming through you for the circle?
Thank you. The word for me is surrender. Especially when it comes to transformation and making something unfamiliar out of what is familiar. I was doing my prayers last night, and the word that just kept coming up is surrender, surrender, surrender. So I'll say it a few different ways, a few different levels of surrender, and hopefully it all makes sense. But of course, the first thing is letting go of fear. You have to surrender fear. And it's not, oh, I don't have it. Sometimes it's just accepting that you're going to have it, and you have to do the thing that you're being called to do anyway. I live by that. I've been trying to figure out faith for myself, and something I don't hear people often say enough, that I make a point to say, is that having faith doesn't mean you don't have fear. It just means that you have fear and you ignore it. You do the thing that you're going to do anyway. Do it afraid. Do it with your hands shaking and your teeth chattering and your tears flowing and your face screaming. But you have to do it, and do it afraid. Do it anyway. You can pray about fear and ask for help with it, but sometimes that's the test, is you're going to be afraid because you don't know, you can't control the thing. So you have to do it anyway. Another surrender is letting go of what you can't control, which is a big one for me personally. I love a plan. I love a direction. And that's the lesson of birth. Especially, you cannot control how it's going to go. You can't control anything from labor to the delivery. And so everything is a birth, especially a transformation of the self, a transformation of the earth, of the world, of the timeline. So letting it go. And in this season, I've been really fortunate to like feel the need to control things leave my body and just give it to the creator, give it to someone who can control it. And just doing what I can do makes the scary things easier to do. The challenging things are easier to do if I just do what I can do, and give the rest to the creator, because that's who's ultimately in control, right? So give what is not yours to control to the one that is in control. And it's easier. Oh my gosh, my heart is so much lighter every day doing that in the morning. So that's one. And then this is also, I think a lot of this is just me speaking to me, from me, is letting go of the need to know. Transformation, you know, kind of where you're going to be, or maybe who you need to be. But for me, and this is something my grandmother said to me when I was in the middle of a big, big transformation, is some of it is the fear of not liking who you're going to have to be, not knowing who you're going to be, and maybe even not liking that person. And she told me to let that go. And when I did, I was like, okay, because I like me, you're going to like you. It's just unfamiliar. There's just unfamiliar responsibilities, unfamiliar changes. Let me make it more concrete, I guess. I was a party girl and I had to become not a party girl. And the party girl version of me would not have liked the less party girl version of me. But I also was afraid I just wouldn't have fun anymore. And I had to let my definition of fun change. And so, but that person's version of fun, like I said, I wouldn't have liked that person in the more immature version of me. I hope this makes sense. But letting go of the fear of being who someone you don't know, because you're going to be living a life that you're not familiar with. You have to become someone that you don't know. You have to become someone who's more creative than you've ever been. You have to become someone who's more brave and courageous than you've ever been. You have to become someone who's less afraid of the spotlight than you've ever been. You have to become someone who is softer maybe than you've ever been, sweeter than you've ever been. And that's unfamiliar. It's strange because the way that we are has protected us for so long. And to journey into who we haven't been, we feel exposed. We feel vulnerable. I don't know how to protect this version of myself. I don't know how to keep this version of myself safe. But we have to let it go. We don't control any of that because we have to experience it before we know how to live in it. So letting go, surrendering the fear of who you're going to be and the fear that you're not going to be able to protect that person or enjoy that person. You will. And a lot of people have mentioned like plants, and no one's mentioned butterflies, but I think about a plant. A seed is in the darkness. It doesn't know what it's going to be. It's a seed, and it turns into something that it wouldn't recognize itself. Especially, I think about that a lot, especially with caterpillars. They just build the cocoon, and apparently they turn into goop in there, and then they're butterflies. That's so crazy. Every time I think about it, they don't know what they're gonna be. They're just eating leaves, and then gotta make this cocoon. Okay, now I'm sludge, and now I'm this magnificent earthly but unearthly creature. So they're not afraid of who they're gonna be, but they know that they're gonna be magnificent. Or maybe they don't know and they just build the cocoon anyway and go to sleep and hope for the best. So let it go. Surrender. That's my word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a Hopi prophecy, I guess, that says, let go of the sides of the riverbank, move to the center, find those who have done the same, and celebrate. And so I feel your grandma sent us you to remind us of that and have you celebrate with us. And so, again, in the middle of this, heartbreak that has brought you to us, we get to have so much joy together. And you said you were a party girl. I feel you are a party girl. So thank you for everything you're bringing here and beyond, and to be continued. And Anita has surprised us and arrived. So, hi, Anita. I'm wondering if you want to share, or if you want to listen, or what's coming through you, to us.
Well, thank you. I felt called to come. I've already been in several wonderful solstice celebrations. However, this group I'm just going to speak to the other elders and elders rising. I would miss you on winter solstice. This is a very important time. And it's especially important if you look at the Mayan in particular calendar. This is the 13 years. 2012 was when things opened up. And I know in the mainstream, they talked about, we're going to die. And it wasn't that. It was never that. But it is during this time to now an opening. And we planted seeds, each of us, consciously or unconsciously, we planted seeds. And so with this longest night, I hope that whatever isn't known to you, what you planted, comes to you, that your ancestors bring it in dream time. Because it's good to look at that, especially at this time, with what's happening outside ourselves. And with this longest night, it is a time to go internal and then know the beauty of tonight when I wake up is that all those seeds won't have sprouted, all those things from the last 10 years. However, sort of like Jasmina saying, I don't know. However, because they were planted, the universe knows, the great mystery knows, and those will come. And when they come, my prayer for all of us and for me is that we listen and that we hear what has come, we see what has come. And so in big part, I wanted to come to listen. And that's kind of is in my word for this longest night of the year. Listen, which has the same letters you probably know as silence. And there's such beauty here on the screen with all of you. I'm talking beyond just the grandmothers and those rising, all of you. And you all matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Anita. Thank you. And we will now go into the breakout rooms. Maybe just Diana, if you have something short that is coming to you and through you, and if tech will allow, maybe we'll hear from you and then go into the breakout rooms.
I know that we are short of time, so I'll share a very quick thought here that came to me in terms of solstices on both hemispheres. So in the northern hemisphere, it's the longest night, and we still have most of December, well, some of December, January, February, that's winter. It's going to be the coldest nights, the coldest weather, the coldest month of the year. But in the center of it, in the middle of winter, summer is born because the days are getting longer, infinitesimally, little by little every day, but the summer has been born. And for the southern hemisphere, it's the height of summer. There's still 2.5 months of warmth and long, sunny, warm days. And yet the nights are getting shorter and shorter. The days are getting shorter and shorter. In the middle of summer, winter is born. And we are shown by nature the picture of the yin and yang, the picture of the opposite that's been born in the center of its opposition. And for me, it's a touching thought to see that, how wordlessly, just through the planets and the light,
Okay, Diana, we have stopped hearing you, so I'm guessing that's our cue to go into the breakout rooms. And again, listen from the heart, whether the words come from you or from your other self. Speak from the heart only if and when the moment and the words are ripe. Respect yourself, other selves, time and attention. Keep confidentiality, and bless you all. Before we the rooms, I'll just say that we have the dates for we'll put them when we reconvene half hour here for final offerings and silently in the chat box, and then the closing prayer.